actual Jake, me, confused why sleeping with 100 men is disgusting, quotes Lily Phillips.
In the business, we call them brackets, not quotes. Frenemy of the channel, Actual Jake, responded to my video. So a response to the response is naturally in order. Who slept with over 100 men in a single day.
Yeah. Is sleeping with 100 women disgusting? No, of course not. Of course not. That is Chad stuff.
The hypocrisy. That would only be hypocritical based on the faulty left-wing premise that men and women have the same relationship to sex, which they don't. Women, for evolutionary reasons, are less willing to have sex. They're a lot more selective. This manifests itself in dating apps, where women find 80% of men unattractive. So it's much harder for a man to find 100 women to have sex with him than a woman to find 100 men.
This is where the applications are coming through.
Where the guys are messaging.
Pairing that with the fact that women have a lower sexual disgust threshold compared to men, and that a sizable chunk of women regret one-night stands, let alone with 100 guys. Lily Phillips is clearly doing this just for money, in contrast to men who would probably pay to have sex with 100 women. If I genuinely believed she wasn't doing this for money and or fame, I wouldn't be so repulsed by it. 100, to be honest, is kind of disgusting either way, man or woman. It's just a lot easier to believe a man is doing it not for attention or fame or money, it's just because he wants to. Just look at the men in the video. This guy is doing it for free, so he isn't doing it for money. He isn't doing it for fame or attention. Quite the opposite. He doesn't want anybody to find out. Oh, sorry, I forgot. We're meant to pretend Lily Phillips is doing it because she loves it so much.
Definitely.
Sorry. Okay. It's okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah.
And so no, I do this job because I love it so much.
Actual Jake accused me last time of hiding behind books.
Behind book. Well, so you do a thing where you're like, look at this book. This is the opinion that it gave me. You know what I mean? Instead of using your opinions and like citing the book. You know what I mean? Like you did this last time too, if I recall correctly, where it's just like, here is my argument from this book.
Actually, I don't think you are recalling correctly. I wasn't even going to address this because it's so puerile. But I think it's funny, so let me elucidate. You accused me of this before even knowing what I was going to cite. And coincidentally, I was just reading in a book called
Oh, you're a book guy too? I mean, you can read books, it's whatever, but like, I could kind of tell. He'd already done it. Guys like this will hide behind, I read a book and it said this. I mean, who the fuck is this guy? Is he a dumbass?
I'd only brought up the cover at this point. You didn't even know what I was going to cite.
I don't think you just saying what you are doing is shameful is helping or being concerned about women. I think you being personally icked by what someone else is choosing to do is your prerogative, but I don't think you can make moral judgments on people consenting to do stuff together.
Firstly, I'm not in a minority here. Most people, as you can see by any comment section involving Lily Phillips, think this is disgusting. And you absolutely can make moral judgments on two consenting adults. In Ireland, we have a sex for rent scandal in which landlords are advertising apartments available to women who are willing to have sex with them. But Jake wouldn't be disgusted by that. They both consented. It makes me ick. I think it's immoral, but what do I know? Again, if she wasn't doing this for money, I wouldn't really have a problem with it. What Jake doesn't realise is our morals are shaped by our emotions, even disgust. I think eating dog meat is disgusting. Other people don't. Other countries don't. Why can't you eat dog meat and you can eat cow meat? I don't know, dogs are cool, I guess.
You just want her to not be able to do it, right?
No, I make it patently clear later in the video that I think she should do whatever she wants as an adult, but as a society, we should be more conservative and discourage this type of behavior. To be concerned for women that are doing things that isn't conducive to happiness.
Why isn't it conducive to happiness?
Having intercourse with 100 men. Probably not a good idea.
Probably not a good idea. But why?
1 is because it's dangerous. 2 is because I don't think it'll make you happy, especially if your motivations are fame and money. I'd apply this logic to anybody I care about, and most normal people would. If a friend told me that she's thinking of having sex with 100 men for money, I would probably say, I don't think you should do it. If my daughter said she wanted to have sex with some creepy film producer in order to get a part in a movie, I would highly discourage her. This is common sense for most people. Not Jake apparently, but for most people. You shouldn't debase yourself for money or fame. It's not worth it.
2 men choose to, for instance, kill each other. Like in a Russian roulette style situation, like a bet. You know what I'm saying? You have no problem with that. Way more extreme than having sex with people.
What? No, I would definitely not encourage that either. I would apply the same principle. Even if it was legal, we should admonish that as a society.
Choosing to beat the shit out of each other in a UFC ring, more extreme.
Again, same principle. I think we should discourage people and let them know the risks in UFC and other sports of that variety.
You have no problem with people going to war. You have no problem with genocide or apartheid, for instance.
You're making a lot of weird assumptions about me. I have, true story, had a friend who wanted to become a soldier, and I begged him to reconsider. And this is the Irish Army, a peacekeeping army.
Coercion on the outside, although you could argue that capitalism coerces people to make decisions they wouldn't otherwise, but you're not ready for that conversation in regards to Lily Phillips.
Let's have that conversation. Capitalism is an easy scapegoat. But at the end of the day, it's people behind the scenes. 100 men want to have sex with her. God knows how many men want to watch the video of her having sex with 100 men. That's why I think this, and porn in general, should be more taboo. If you make the capitalism is coercive argument, you're tacitly acknowledging that she is doing this for money and it's not something that she wants to do. What this misses out, of course, is that people can be pressured by peers or partners or wider cultural forces into believing that they want things which later they come to recognize as bad for them.
Uh-oh, you're getting really close to being a wokie with some manufactured consent here.
I want to be really clear here. Blaming capitalism is a cop-out. Go back to 1967 when the Rolling Stones had to change their lyrics because it was controversial to say, let's spend the night together. It was still a capitalist society in the 1960s. What's changed is our perspective on taboo. Of course, I'm not saying we should go back that far. I just think having sex with 100 people should still be taboo. Is that really that controversial?
Would you like to discuss how capitalism does this to the populace at large by pay-gating survival necessities behind the necessity to make a dollar by any means necessary to survive?
First of all, I don't see how this is relevant since Lily Phillips was having sex with 100 men just because she wanted to. She's just a party girl. Remember, if she was crying, it's because there was semen in her eyes. According to you, anyway. But Jake's right. The only way to survive in England is to have sex with 100 men. She was starving on the streets before some good Samaritan and 99 others came along and decided to have sex with her. I don't think so. What really happened was, we as a society didn't discourage this behavior enough. There's too much liberals around saying, don't listen to those prudish conservatives, do whatever you want, don't think about it. And just to be clear, as an adult, I think she should be able to do it. But we should, as a society, admonish this behavior.
I disagree. I admonish your behavior instead. And I think that we should, as a society, admonish your behavior of trying to tell people that they can't do what they want to do with consent.
Again, like rent for sex, I'm sure you'll agree that consent isn't everything and we should discourage certain practices, if not make them illegal.
Like, how is this genuinely any different from people choosing to fight each other to bloody pulps?
Yeah, it's not different, and I think we should discourage that as well. Thank you.
Two people could choose ethically together and consent together to lop each other's fingers off with a knife. People have done this. This is a thing that people have done. People have chosen to duel each other to the death.
Yes, and nowadays we discourage that. So much so that it's actually illegal. We encourage people to talk. Again, this is common sense for most people. Oh, little Timmy, you're getting bullied at school. Fight to the death. It's the only way for you boys to resolve this dispute. If Russian roulette became a TikTok trend, I would discourage that too. In fact, there are plenty of social media trends that I think are bad. I don't care if you're an adult or not. I would discourage you from something like the blackout challenge. Is it really so controversial to discourage stupid people from doing stupid things? To most...
Well, I mean, I don't know if I celebrate it. It's just like, you can do it. I don't care. I didn't watch the Lily Phillips thing. I don't give a shit. What are you talking about? You guys are the ones freaking out. You mean celebrate it? It's not celebrating a thing to say I am fine with it and have no ethical compunctions.
And that's the thing. He doesn't care. I care. Not even so much about Lily Phillips, but at the message that this projects to other young, malleable girls. That's right, young girls whose brains haven't fully developed. It's fine if you want to humiliate yourself for money and fame. Your mental and physical health, they're not that important. I'll ask actual Jake this. If his daughter turned 18 and she said she wanted to do this, have sex with 100 men so that she can get some TikTok likes, would he not discourage it? Warn her about the dangers? No?
She could do whatever she wants.
I doubt that would be the response to his daughter, or sister, or friend.
Intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Really?
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Still seems sad? Well,
Dude, she seems exhausted from the process.
Why? And so they think that she's like sad or something because her eyes were probably watering during the experience.
it's pretty obvious she's not crying because the experience made her eyes water. I posed this question to who I now realize was actual Jake's girlfriend. I asked her if she believed that it wasn't about the money or she was crying because the experience made her eyes water. And of course she can't answer honestly because she'd be throwing actual Jake under the bus. But as a woman, I'm sure she's not that naive.
Did you have this take about people who modified their bodies into be lizards or whatever?
100%. Especially if their motivation is fame and money.
Not a victim of capitalism in any capacity? You could make an argument that she is somewhat coerced into doing something maybe she wouldn't do for free because there's money involved.
But it's not about capitalism. There will always be some men who will try to coerce women into doing things that they don't want to do. If there was a man and a woman shipwrecked on an island, and the man was the only one strong enough to climb a tree for food, but he said, "I'll only give you food if you have sex with me," I would think that's wrong, even if she is consenting. According to Jake, the reason men and women have a different relationship with sex is because of the patriarchy. So by changing these...
Why are you talking about reproduction here?
To be fair, I didn't explain this too well due to time constraints, and I know that reading is anathema to left-wingers. The patriarchy is not the reason that men and women have a different approach to sex. Left-wingers hate biological differences, but the brain, in terms of sexual motivation, is different for men and women. Contraception is a fairly recent invention. Evolution works way slower. In terms of evolution, parental investment makes it so that it makes sense for a man to be wired to have sex with 100 women. That means he'll have 100 opportunities of passing his genes on. That's how we've adapted, for better or worse.
This like fucking 100 people has nothing to do with reproduction. Like, what are you talking about?
But a woman's motivation for wanting to have sex with 100 men does have something to do with reproduction. It's nothing to do with money, guys. She's just a party girl looking for a good time.
Nothing to do with money. So your problem is with capitalism and the hold it has on people's labor? Because then we could talk about that, but you don't have that critique because you are a capitalist and you enjoy it.
No, because I think the solution is simply to discourage this kind of behavior, like we did in the past. Probably the same as you discourage a family member. We shouldn't just say, it's fine, and shrug our shoulders. We should call this for what it is, disgusting. But you and me should be equally disgusted. We have different solutions, but we should be standing side by side fighting this. But you're not for some reason.
He autoerotic asphyxiated himself to death also, but that was just for getting off. Was that immoral?
I wouldn't say it's immoral, but if I could travel back in time and discourage him from doing that, I would. And in the present, without knowing for certain if someone would die, I would still discourage them from auto-asphyxiating themselves, because it's dangerous. And I think, as a society, we should also discourage it. We shouldn't just shrug our hands and say, it's fine, do whatever you want. We should warn people of the danger.
Woman dies while performing degrading webcam sex for perv. In this case, she's a victim, most likely, of the coercion of capitalism.
Aha, so consent is not enough. Notice how he lets the pervert off scot-free. If you want to put women in dangerous situations, go ahead, as long as they consent. Let's take money out of the equation. Imagine a Hollywood producer who has access to celebrities and said, hey, you'll get to meet your favorite celebrity if you choke yourself on camera for me. I'm into it. And she does it and dies. Does he bear no responsibility? She consented. There was no money involved. Jim Jones could convince you to drink Kool-Aid. I don't think it's okay, whether you consent or not. Consent is not the only factor.
100 guys to show off.
You had
She's admitting to not screening these guys properly.
So at best, so say she didn't screen any of them, which isn't the case, but say she didn't screen 100 out of 100, okay? There's no ethical difference here. All it is a little more risky for STIs.
Okay, so you and me should be calling out that behavior. Not just for her own sake, but for the people who watch this and might try and imitate her.
Have you done anything to make sure there's not someone with a criminal record, for example, coming down?
We actually have not, no.
And maybe that's all she needs, is people pointing out how stupid and dangerous this is and discouraging people from doing it. Because stupid people can consent to things that are bad for their mental or physical health. At the end of the day, I think they should be allowed to do it, but we should admonish them.
But what difference would it make? Why did you need that 100? Whether it's
This guy right here seems very uncomfortable by it anyway. Why'd you have to do 30? Why couldn't you do 30 instead of 100?
Do you not go more viral and be more successful?
I think you're missing the point a little. He's asking, why didn't you settle for 30 screened guys instead of 100 guys that you wouldn't have time to screen? And her answer is that 100 guys would be more likely to go viral. So have we just dropped the facade that she's doing this because she loves it?
Dog, what the fuck? You guys remember Shoe Nice? Where's your Shoe Nice video, dude? That guy was drinking handles of fucking moonshine for a few clicks.
I have never heard of that before, and I would admonish people from doing that. I would admonish people for consuming that content, and I would discourage others from doing it. I'm so consistent here.
Football.
Yeah, not this guy.
We have fucking a whole.
This guy's British
whole
or something.
Industry.
British or something. British or something. You need to join?
I need him to explain to me what job Lily Phillips can have that is not exploiting her body in some way
I love
to
salami.
make someone else rich. Tell me what job she should do that's not porn.
That's his girlfriend. We're already acquainted. Maybe any other job that she's qualified for? Again, she can do it if she wants. I personally would prefer a job that's less embarrassing and less dangerous, even if it costs me fame and money.